Vaughen, and I'm a native of Chattanooga. I'm a poet. I work as a technical writer during the day, and I'm here to present a chapbook that I worked with an illustrator who collaborated with me to do the illustrations. The chapbook is designed to evoke a naturalist journal. I'm not a naturalist. In fact, I live down the street downtown with a chicken plant. But my mother was a naturalist, and she recorded the birds she saw every day dutifully, and she informed my life in a lot of ways. And I think sometimes we think, oh, to be a farmer, to be a naturalist, to be that close to the earth and everything, but you know, we've got to think that naturalists are our teachers, and we are to weave in the things we learn from their experience into our own. And my poetry book, I guess, is a way that I do that. I presented it first at the Emma Bell Miles Symposium. If you're local and don't know who Emma Bell Miles was, she was the John Audubon bird painter of the Southern Highlands. And she wrote a book. You see a picture of her. She was here at the turn of the century, lived on Walden's Ridge and St. Elmo in downtown. And she wrote a book called Our Seven Birds and illustrated it herself. So again, my poetry book is designed collaboratively with Aaron Sherman and Marcy Sherman to evoke her way of being in the world as well. And I thought tonight I'm just going to read a couple poems, because that's really what I do more than try to explain it. But here's a few poems from the book. The first poem is called The Birds Audubon Never Painted, and it's been published a couple places. And I read in my mother's naturalist journal that she noted a grosbeak, and she noted that Audubon never painted that one. And I never fact-checked my mother, but I thought, that's so interesting. Did he not see it, or did he just choose not to paint it? So that kind of inspired this poem I'll read. The Birds Audubon Never Painted. It wasn't that he never saw them among the pyracantha thorns, or that they were somehow less. It's just that some things one must leave to memory alone. No feathers of a black-tipped brush could record the gentle way they lingered as dusk began to cage the woods. Indescribable what happened next when they flew. The sound of wings, the color of rust, something we should each witness for ourselves at least once. The next poem is a short poem. There's a real creek that ran near the house where I grew up called Mackey's Branch, and I grew up in East Brainerd, like before the mall, and now there is a Mackey's Branch, like Bank Branch, and most people don't know that it had a name called Mackey's Branch until they named the strip mall for it. And so I went in a canoe wanting to see what it was really like today. We didn't get very far because of culverting and all that, but it was a fascinating experience. Drifting along Mackey's Branch. A heron eyes our drought, dreams of fish. I tell you my dream as the lean brown thrush entangles itself in dry debris at the bank of the creek. He sings among the bristle brush of a cut evergreen. Here, even the warbler's cries are faint. We too drift through the places that connected our childhoods on a well-creased map, a tributary of knots and clots, invasive privet, bamboo. Our memory of dairy cows, now a sprawling Methodist church. We lean to the side of our narrow raft, touch our open palms to the water, as if placing them in wet cement, a future of stepping stones before us. I find myself leaning towards you and begin to sketch on your back with my wet fingers the simple lines of native plants: wild ginger, May apples, rue anemone. We begin to sense their fragrance all around. I draw an endangered white skullcap on the muscle of your arm. Lift your sleeve so it might bloom. Find whatever it still needs. It is so like me, you think, to thumb through a faded field guide, to search for the names, to still reach for what we've lost. This poem is more in my urban setting that I've known so well. Most of my adult life I've lived downtown, and that's my habitat where I'm probably most comfortable. And it's also my way of being green in the world. Where sparrows nest. I've made my place where sparrows nest in churchyard bushes, where everything goes along as regularly as public buses, where signs hesitate to say walk, where flowers don't seed, though they are planted, where a man pushes the silver grocery cart, a metal nest, unnoticed. We pass him $1, but not a thought. I've made my place where the trees hold cold streams of starlight in winter, where sidewalks are as unsettled as our lives, where the heavy slabs are held together with sandstones from the river's bottom, and remembers from where they came, though we do not. I've made my place where nature is as groomed as a professional woman, where leaves are not allowed to stay where they fall and give back what they have promised, while the limestone bluff and its tangle turns its back on the sculptured garden. Its only health is growth along these troubled waters, watched by the great heron's eye along the narrow banks of the island.